What's up? You're watching Cheap Seats. I'm Riley. That's Graydon, and today we're doing our playoff power rankings. The regular season is over.
Oh, these are just playoff teams.
Did you put some?
I put a couple. I put the Browns.
Oh, okay. I mean, you can put whatever you want.
Shoot.
Yeah. It says playoff at the top.
I put the Bengals.
Yeah, I was gonna put the Bengals. I thought that'd be
Burrow.
funny, but yeah. I mean, listen. You got the Triple Crown wide receiver. You got the most yards, most touchdowns for any quarterback. And all for what? To win 9 games and be sitting at home.
If Jacoby Brissett didn't beat them week 1, they'd be in the playoffs and the Patriots would have the number 1 pick. Looking back on that
Speaking
game.
of Jacoby Brissett,
Okay.
I will say Gerard Mayo being fired is ridiculous.
Oh, why?
Because, okay, he gets the job. I understand there was like a process. They were they're always planning for him to be the next guy. And then they're like, okay, yeah, it's a rebuilding year. Don't worry too much about it, Gerard. We're actually going to start Jacoby Brissett for half the season because we're not worried about winning now. We got to, it's about building up Drake May for the future. Drake May comes out, looks great.
Yeah.
And then they win their last game.
Yeah.
And then they were like, bye, Gerard. What do you mean only this many wins?
Well, yeah, but you just explained why he got fired. Because he said there was a competition at quarterback.
Uh-huh.
And then he said Drake May was better. And then he started Jacoby. And everybody was like, And then he just throws Drake May out there.
But it's a rebuilding year. They knew that.
Well, right, but it was just like the communication that got him fired. Like his whole...
Well, no, he said Jacoby Brissett is the quarterback that gives us a better chance to win. That's
he didn't say he was better.
That's what he said. And listen, I'm just saying, it's ridiculous to throw somebody in there for a year when everybody knew they were going to be bad, and then they were bad, and they won their first game and won their last game. No, it's like, I don't know what you want, really.
I forget who said it yesterday. Someone was like, when coaches get fired, it's because the owner hates them.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, Robert Kraft hated Gerard Mayo. And Mike Vrabel's available, and they just want Vrabel. I feel like he makes way more sense.
Vrabel was available last year too.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't take the job because he went to Cleveland. He took a better opportunity in Cleveland.
That's definitely and a much better team. Totally
worked out.
Antonio Pierce also fired.
That was long overdue.
Yeah, but he also said something awesome.
What did he say?
He said, "I'll forever love the Raiders. I bleed silver and black, and fuck the Chiefs."
Whoa!
On his way out, that's what he said.
Hell yeah.
Well, that's alleged. I saw it and it said that's apparently what he said. So I don't know if he actually said that, but if he did, that's awesome.
It's still a great little sound bit from whatever. His team put that out there like, we're going to say you said this. He's like, whatever. I don't care. I don't have a job.
I think it'd be awesome if they fired him. He said that and they go, you know who's good for this? I feel like we should hire that Antonio Pierce.
Antonio Pierce fired up. He bleeds silver and black.
Let's bring him on. Doug Peterson fired today.
Oh, really?
I think so. We said it.
Sure?
I'm pretty sure we said that earlier in this. I'm going to mark that down.
Well, we also said Daboll.
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah, I think he got fired, Doug Peterson. So okay, he's gone. We said he was going to get fired.
That's an ideal situation, probably. Jacksonville and Chicago, probably the two more attractive jobs.
People are saying the Patriots. I think the Patriots as well.
Yeah, but that's like working for Jerry Jones 2.0. Robert Kraft seems like a fucking head case.
Totally, but I mean, the Jags, I don't know.
Jags have ETN and Trevor Lawrence. Name 2 offensive players on the Patriots that are good.
Yeah, that's Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, I had a dream about Drake May last night, by the way. I don't want to get sidetracked.
No, I would love to get sidetracked.
I was breaking down film of his, and he just kept throwing the most improbable passes. It would be like... It was almost like sports science-esque, like where it's like, look at this. Off this back foot, the likelihood of this ball landing right here is like a 0.000. But Drake May puts it there every time, and he was like doing tricks on it in the pocket, essentially.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, wow, this guy...
Were you thinking about Drake May before you went to sleep?
I guess. No, you know what's funny? This is really funny. I just put this together. I was watching The Patriot with Mel Gibson. I swear to God,
that's why
I went to bed watching The Patriot, and then I had a dream about Drake May, like a sports science dream.
So wait, you hung out with Mel Gibson, and you guys watched his movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
It's what he likes to do. It was
his idea, yeah.
And I want to make a wish for him.
You want?
No, I won.
You won a Make-A-Wish. Yeah. You don't win those.
Well, yeah, I did.
How?
I did.
What?
It was likes on Twitter.
I know you were sick, but...
It was likes on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
whichever sick kid gets the most likes on his tweet gets to hang out with Mel Gibson and probably watch one of his movies.
Okay, you're 30.
Yeah.
So kid is the.
Well, compared to Mel, I'm just a young man.
True.
Yeah.
Well, you're compared to anybody, you're a young man.
Yeah.
But,
I guess.
I mean, you're a young man. That's
maybe
a fact,
not a child,
but you're not a kid.
Who?
Get it hard. Speaking of sick, Graydon was sick with Lizard, and then I caught Lizard from Graydon, and so I'm still like, this is kind of like my last day being sick, I think.
Oh, that's what you think, yeah.
No, I mean, I thought that 2 days ago,
Yeah.
and then I fell deep into the depths yesterday, and then today
It still hurts me while I'm sleeping, though, so you got a whole nother week of congestion and, like, terrible sleep.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know, I guess. I'll mark that down. The Titans GM was fired as well, which I think that's just funny because you got the #1 pick. You're a GM. Like, you find out.
They're like, oh, we don't trust him.
He's like, oh, okay, #1 pick, first time, woo woo. And then they're like, all right, you're out of here. We're gonna get somebody else to make that pick. And then Lou Anarumo from the Bengals, defensive coordinator, he was fired.
Yeah.
Which I think is, I mean, yeah, the Bengals had a terrible defense this year. That was the reason they're not in the playoffs. Whatever. But it's still weird because he was like widely considered one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL.
Yeah, he'll get a job somewhere else, and they're also gonna end up in just like. They're going to end up in the trap where they're just their whole salary cap is T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow. And then the next defensive coordinator you bring in, they're going to be like, here's $50. Put together a great defense. Put together a better one than last year after we lose Trey Henderson, probably.
Well, there's no place Joe Burrow would rather end up than the trap. He loves it there. Anyway, he does.
He likes the trap?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's stayed in Cincinnati for that reason. A lot of trap houses out there. We know that.
We know that, but I didn't know Joe liked to hang out there.
Yeah, he does. All right. I need the apology music really quick. Thanks, Tony. I'd like to apologize to Lions fans.
Yeah, you do owe
the Detroit Lions in general.
Aaron
Glenn, specifically you, but also Dan Campbell and Jared Goff, Jameson Williams,
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, 4 touchdowns. What a performance! Good for you. Yeah, I listen, I was rooting for you guys, but I doubted you guys. I said I thought the Vikings had more momentum going in, and I thought that defense wasn't going to be able to hold it together with all the injuries, and turns out, fantastic. Held the Vikings to the least points that they scored the entire season, and it was a great performance, and the vibes are back up. The hope is back up, and I'm pretty sure they're favorites for the Super Bowl now, and rightfully so.
Yep, 3-1 odds.
Yeah.
Which is a little...
I mean, yeah, that's scary.
That's scary.
But at the same time, if it does end up Lions-Chiefs in the Super Bowl, the Lions will be huge underdogs in the minds of everyone going into it. Will be like, uh-oh, it's probably not going to be the Lions. So that's where you want to be. You want to be underdogs. And I guess I've hoped that I was bulletin board material for like the 1 or 2 Lions players who have ever seen a Cheap Seats video. And that's really all I could hope.
Saw that and like ripped up a picture of your face. I was like,
Yeah, I hope so. So, yeah, my apologies to all the Lions faithful. And I'm glad that they pulled through. All right.
Me too.
That's it.
You want to get into our top 10?
I have a couple more things.
All right, let's hear it.
1.
Let's hear it.
All
Sorry,
right.
was that too loud?
That was too loud. Yeah. Tyreek Hill wants out.
Well, yeah, he made that apparently clear.
Well,
he said, I'm out,
he
bro.
said
And then he walked away.
Yeah.
He does that.
And then he changed his profile picture and his header on Twitter to the AB pulling off the jersey.
Yeah.
And which happened in MetLife as well, which I think is interesting.
He's a child, bro. I wouldn't want him on my team. They're looking at like trade packages now, or it would be like, a 3rd and 4th round pick or something. Could get you Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams who want to do that.
Right. I mean, that's like not that bad.
No,
I think the highest thing was like someone might offer a 2nd round pick. 1 2nd round pick for Tyreek Hill.
That's insane because he's so good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, to me, in my mind, I was like most obvious Atlanta Falcon I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But they have a cap problem now because of Kirk.
Right.
So I don't know if they can afford to pay Tyreek what he would want to be paid to go somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think sadly he ends up on a shitty team that gives it's in Miami's control. So
I think it could be the Patriots, which I know they wouldn't want to do, interdivision, but
yeah, I think it could be the Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders makes sense.
He's like a real Raider.
Yeah, but it depends on who they pick because they don't have a quarterback right now.
Right, but they can, if they offer a 2nd-round pick and Miami says yes, Aiden O'Connell deep to Tyreek Hill.
That's not happening. I think the Raiders are going to trade up and get a quarterback, I think.
They can take our spot, man.
Yeah, they probably, that's, a lot of people think the Browns are going to pick. Like, Browns got the 2nd pick, by the way, if you didn't see that, which is cool. We moved up 1 spot. But I don't think the Browns are looking for a QB in this draft.
Right now, Shadour's projected.
Yeah, but I don't think I think Cam Ward goes first to the Titans, and I think the Browns trade out of that spot and get a little draft capital.
I'll take whoever wants to come to Cleveland and is happy to be a Brown and compete.
Yeah, that's nice of you.
I'll take Shador. I'll take all the Sideshow Bob activities. I'll take, bring Dion in on the sidelines, let him wear a Buffs, like a half Buffs, half Browns, and sunglasses on. He's squirting drinks on people or something.
Yeah, I saw a Bengal, big game Bengal, talking about this. Shout out to him. He said that everybody keeps saying that Shador won't be a Cleveland Brown, Cleveland Brown, like Dion won't let it happen. Yeah. He's like, where has that been said? It's like Dion straight up said, that's not what we're saying.
Yeah,
like he's going wherever. He gets drafted. And then Bengal did say he's not a good enough prospect to really decide where he should go and all that stuff. So, yeah, he could be a Cleveland Brown, but I don't know that I want Shador Sanders, not because I just haven't been that impressed.
Yeah, neither have I.
Especially compared to last year's QB draft class and then, next year could be.
I just want the best player in the draft, which I think is Travis Hunter.
Right.
And we also need O-line, too. So, if we really traded down and pulled
And Travis Hunter said he's willing to play O-line, too.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So, put in a package, special package for him.
Yeah, he's going to do 60% snap share at O-line next year. Yeah. And then I will say I did predict the Jets thing. I said the fuck you win.
Yeah, the fuck you win.
I was on the way out, by the way, fuck your draft pick. Fuck you guys.
I'm going to have a great game.
And I think they did enough where Aaron and Devontae have 1 year somewhere.
I hope they do. I hope it's in Cleveland with Shador.
I do too. Well, with Shador?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mentor Shador for a year. And Travis. Yeah, trade up.
Yeah.
Draft them both. Acquire the first and keep the second.
1 and 2. I love when people do that. I've been watching some of those rebuild videos that people do, and where they'll do that. They'll trade 6 picks and get the first and second pick just because the prospects are really good in 1 year's draft. And I'm like, no one's ever done that. Yeah. And maybe they have, but I don't know history stuff. And last thing I will say is just because I don't have them in my top 10, I want to mention the Broncos have a lot of momentum going into this, and I think that it is the one I could see the Broncos upsetting the Bills this week just a little bit. And the main reason being, obviously that defense was really good first half of the season, and then it was kind of shaky.
Yeah.
Then it showed up against the backup Chiefs, which, whatever, take from that what you will. Mm-hmm. But their run game has been struggling, and Audric Estime showed some flashes in that game, that Notre Dame running back.
I'm familiar with him. He was explosive.
Yeah, and so I was really happy to see that happen. I was like, you know what, let's establish that against the Bills and then see what Bones can do on offense. I kind of like them in that game. I don't think it's going to happen. But
I think maybe. Josh Allen's going to do some witchcraft in the locker room during this week, and going into that game, Buffalo's going to get 45 feet of snow. And it'll be one of those.
Oh, yeah. And the Broncos have no idea how to play in the snow.
They literally haven't, all year.
Well, not this year, but come on, it's the mountains.
Yeah, but Denver doesn't get snow games like that. Buffalo gets way more storms because they're close to water.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Ooh.
That.
Don't mind if I do.
Can we get into my top 10? I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, sure. Sorry this is late, by the way.
Fuck you.
Well,
Not you.
I know, but people they ask for it. We've created the appetite.
I beg for it, boys. Whoa! Hopefully that was just on our end. Our shit was tweaking. Let's get into my top 10. Tony, hit me with number 10. Boom!
Oh, the Rams. Wow.
Obviously, this came down to Broncos, Chargers, Rams, Texans kind of vibe here. The reason I have the Rams in my top 10 is because they have a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I think going into the playoffs, that kind of experience matters so much more, and that's what will be describing kind of the discrepancy throughout the rest of my top 10, and it won't justify number 1, and I know that'll look hypocritical by the time I get there, but it'll explain some of the spots. I got the Rams at 10 because of Matt Stafford and Sean McVay, and that's all I need to say about that. Puka puka, buka buka. All right, number 9. Green Bay Packers, all the way down here. They look like shit. They lost to the Bears at the last second. They've been stumbling. They've really stumbled into the playoffs here after, like, with about 4 weeks left, they looked like they had everything going. They had the running game going. They had a greedy defense, a good game plan, but I don't know. I have a little faith in them right now, just based on talent. And then, if they're not going to get to play a game at home. Unless
they can't.
Yeah, they can't.
They're the 7th seed, so it's impossible.
Yeah, so it sucks for them. Green Bay is a great place to play, but they blew that. They really blew it with that loss to Chicago. Really makes me worried. Green Bay going on the road doesn't scare me really against anyone. So, yeah. Number 8, the Commanders. I like Jaden more than Jordan Love in the playoffs. I'm more afraid to play the Commanders than I would be Green Bay right now, and I wouldn't think I was the Commander doubter all year. And I'm just not anymore. He's a killer. He's won some insane games. Yeah, I like this team in the playoffs a lot. I'm scared. Like, Lions should be afraid of them. Eagles should be afraid of them. Like, the Bucks in the first matchup should be afraid of them. This is a real deal team that can win some games. I don't know if they're NFC Championship ready, but would I be that shocked if they won a couple games and ended up there? Yes.
The Eagles can't play them unless it's in the NFC Championship, though.
And I'd be scared if I was an Eagles fan and it was there. Cool. And would I be that shocked if the Commanders made it to the NFC Championship? Yes.
Yeah, of course.
I would be super shocked.
Yeah,
That'd be
shocking.
amazing.
Yeah,
it'd be a hell of a run by a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, totally.
Number 7. Bang. The Bucks.
Oh.
Yeah, I got the Bucks all the way up here. You want to know why?
Yeah, I do.
It's because of Baker Mayfield, man.
Oh, yeah.
And the vibes of that last game were magical. You said you almost cried when Mike Evans got that 1,000 yards. We all loved it. I think that chemistry is really working out really great right there. Right now. Bucky Irving, an amazing talent. Spry.
You're not worried at all that they jumped out to a 14-point deficit to the Saints?
No.
They were down 14 against the Saints.
Ooh,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't scare me, dude.
Okay.
They could be down 14 to the Paints. I wouldn't even be scared.
What the hell does that even mean?
Baker is a bad boy, and they get to open up at home. Confidence is going there. They really have like nothing to lose. I don't know. I'm scared of this team, and Baker's a bad boy. He wants to make a run. Would I be that shocked if the Bucks went to the Super Bowl and won? Yes. Yeah, I'd be super shocked. Would I be shocked if they went to the NFC Championship?
Yes.
No.
Really?
I really wouldn't be.
Okay.
If they made it all the way, they beat the Lions this year.
Yeah.
They have like the best quality win out of anyone in the NFC this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. They have a good defense. If they went up against the Eagles, they could stuff Saquon full of stuffing and make him a taxidermied running back who's not fast because he's taxidermied.
Right.
But yeah, I am scared, and go Baker. Number 6, Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, one loss can do that to you. When Sam Darnold turns into Cinderella in the pumpkin or whatever, that's bad. Seeing those overthrows, seeing that, I know all credit to Alex Anzalone coming back. They got the green dot back. They got the quarterback on defense back. Aaron Glenn called an amazing game. Amik Robinson had the crazy high school matchup with Justin Jefferson and then played up with him. All that being said, they're so undermanned, and they held you to 9. It basically seems like if you blitz Sam Darnold a lot, he'll make bad decisions. And if KOC goes away from running the ball like that, and he's just like relying on Sam Darnold, I don't know. That game was so weird. That game was like the Ohio State-Michigan game where it felt like Minnesota just wanted to be Detroit for the game or like play the same game.
They tried to play Dan Campbell's game.
Yeah.
They went for it on 4th.
And he went for it like twice all year.
Yeah, it was the least in the NFL and against the most in the NFL. And then the Vikings just decided to go for it on 4th in moments that were very uncharacteristic.
Right. And so that, like, I don't know.
They lost their identity.
Yeah. You lose your identity, you get sucked.
Mm-hmm.
So that's worrisome. I will say, value-wise, they went from like 5-1 to win the Super Bowl to now 14-1. I sprinkled.
Hey, good for you.
I sprinkled Vikings to make it to the Super Bowl because that's a hell of a good odds for a team that we did see play 14 fantastic games. But yeah, Sam Darnold gives me very little confidence. That's why they fall so low on this list for me, just based off of one game. And that sucks. I still like Brian Flores' defense, but I mean, going against the Rams first game isn't going to be easy. Sean McVay's a freak.
It's one of their 3 losses this year.
Yeah, Sean McVay's a freak. They got to go into LA. I don't know. And they said they bought $2 million of Lions tickets, and then all those Vikings fans just resold it. So, vibes in the fan base don't even feel good. Yeah. It was like they put together $2 million, and they're like, y'all going to the game. And everybody was like, yeah, $1,200. Yeah. Nope, $950. All right, cool, we're staying home. It's like no one showed up. So, I don't know. Sam Darnold has red hair. That sucks. Yeah. Number 5, Baltimore Ravens. Am I scared of them? Yes.
Of course.
Do I think if it was them versus Lions in the Super Bowl, am I more afraid for the Lions than if it's Lions-Chiefs? Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I know last season the Lions got dismantled by Lamar Jackson. So that's like fresh in my mind.
That's true.
And I can just see, I don't know, if Lamar gets like the right rhythm, I know he doesn't, there's no history of this. But it feels like this could be the year where he goes like, just a perfect passer rating for like 3 straight playoff games. And everybody's like, oh, fuck. And then Derrick Henry has a legacy game and like at the AFC Championship runs for 200 yards. If they just go into the Super Bowl with those guys cooking and the way the defense has been playing the last 4 weeks, which is like gaining momentum at the right time, I don't know. Everything's working there, and it really comes down to Lamar just not having like a goose egg type game with a couple fumbles or a pick, or Rashard Bateman letting the ball hit him off his chest.
Yeah, Rashard, but yeah.
Rashard. All right. Yeah, Baltimore is horrific and frightening. Number 4, Philly. These two, I like wrote them down, and I was like, it could be switched, but I don't know. Philly's just been a little more consistent this year, and I do like their defense more. I know Baltimore's trending up, and Philly has been trending down. I just like the personnel on Philly's defense a little bit more, and they do have a little more home field advantage, I think. Just going into Philly, I don't know. It's scary. They have an easier first game against the Packers, I think. And if Jalen Hurts and their wide receiver room is better than Baltimore's, so there's a slight edge here for the Eagles. Yeah, I don't know. Philly's going to be – it's exciting to see this team. This is the first iteration of this Philly team we're going to see in the playoffs. And I don't know. I hope they play good because I do love Saquon Barkley. And
well.
They play gooder. They play good on the ball. Yeah.
Hey, I need that.
Number 3.
What the hell's wrong with
Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is the devil. He is the freakiest white guy to ever touch a football field. And he's probably going to be my MVP. Yeah, it's like him and Lamar's year in the AFC. One of them has to break through because if Pat Mahomes remains their daddy, I think the narrative around them starts to get it gets a little, it just gets scary. One of these guys is going to win MVP for their 3rd time or something this year, 2nd or 3rd time. I know Lamar's already got 2.
Josh has not won it yet.
He hasn't won 1. Well, he might win 2 this year. He might win Defensive Player of the Year too.
Okay.
Yeah. One of these guys got to break through. They're both primed for it. I like Baltimore's defense better, but I think Josh Allen is just a little bit better, and I think the Bills' offense is overall better. And I'm looking forward to the Amari Cooper big time playoff catch. We're gonna get a couple of those where I'm gonna be like,
he was on our team.
That was a Brown.
Yeah, he was
a Brown. It's like when I see Big Z get a sack for the Lions. I'm like, hey. We taught him a little something about getting the sack. All right.
Yep. Or it's like when I see Big Z coach a really good game for St. Ignatius.
I'm like, hey,
he used to
learn a little of those tricks from old LeBron.
From the Cavs.
All right, number 2, Kansas City Chiefs. Sick. Number 1, Detroit Lions. I got the Lions here. I'm sorry to Dan Campbell. I mean, it still could come back to bite him in his ass, and I'll get into a little more of this in a video we might drop tomorrow. But there's something to be said about coaching the way he coaches and being so risky all year long, and then being able to use that to his advantage like he did at the end of the Vikings game on the 4th and 2, which is a situation where every team will send out their offense and do a hard count. Dan is doing it knowing that the other team thinks he'll actually go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's made a hard count like legit. And short of having Aaron Rodgers, who's like the greatest, like he has just the history of going for it on 4th that like he made him jump off sides and like essentially sealed that game. I know it was a couple possession game already, but it was only a 2 possession game at that time. To make a team go off sides like that, that's the arc that Dan is going to be able to start using, like gamesmanship wise, after being so risky for so long. Now he puts you in positions like that where that was like Harrison Smith who jumped off sides, like a 15-year veteran guy who's like smart as fuck. That's crazy. And I love you, Dan. And thank you.
Nice. Yeah, good work, man.
Thanks.
It's good work for sure. For once, it's not the exact same teams in a different order, which is cool. Probably because we haven't been hanging out as much because we've both been sick with Lizard. All right, now let's see mine, Tony. Here we go. Number 10. All right, well, we're starting.
Okay,
we're starting
right.
not a great start. The Rams. A lot of what you said, obviously, it comes down to they're a scary team in the playoffs. They've won a Super Bowl with the same coach and the same quarterback and some of the same players on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
So that's one of the scary. I wanted to bring this up. This is awesome to me. If the Vikings had won that game against the Lions, the entire NFC Super Wildcard weekend, every matchup would have been a rematch of Week 1. The Lions against the Rams, Bucks against the Commanders, and the Eagles against the Packers. All of those were Week 1 matchups, but instead it's Vikings against Rams. That's the only difference, though. It's weird. The Brazil game, the Packers and Eagles.
Oh, I forgot about the Brazil game.
I know, the Brazil.
God.
Sorry, I meant to say Brazil. But yeah, that game, and that one was close, and obviously Jordan Love got hurt in that one. I'm a little iffy on that game, too. Well, our predictions are going to go out Friday, but I'm not sure which way I'm going on this Eagles-Packers game. Momentum is bad with the Packers right now, but I did think that was really weird to see, just that it would all be like, okay, the first game you played all season is also going to be your first playoff game.
That's super weird.
Anyway, the Rams, everybody should be scared. Like, they're scared of them for the right reasons.
Yeah.
They are a spotty team, though. They've played really bad against bad teams and really good against good teams. They're one of the only teams to beat the Bills this year, one of the only teams to beat the Vikings this year. Yeah, I think they're a good team, so we'll see how they do against the Vikings this time around.
Would you be surprised if they won the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
This year, I'd be super surprised. All right, number 9. I got the Commanders. I feel kind of the same way that you do about them right now. I think they're really good. I think Jaden Daniels is great in the clutch. I just think that they have a bad matchup.
Yes.
Because the Bucks are pretty good against the run at this point. Yeah. Again, early in the season they weren't as great, but now they've really figured out stopping the run, and they can kind of contain a scrambling quarterback. I also think I don't know, there's just certain mismatches. I don't think that their defense is quite stout enough to handle the Bucks. I do right now think the Commanders have a better chance to make a run in the playoffs than the Bucks do. It's just about getting past that first game.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a really, really good wild card weekend matchup. I'm excited to see it happen.
It's probably my matchup I'm most excited for.
Yeah, and the Bucks beat the Commanders first week of the season, but they're different teams now, so we'll see. Nobody was expecting much out of the Commanders anyway at that point, but yeah, I mean, they've been so fun to watch. I'm super excited to just see how some of their receiving core does, how Jaden can kind of operate as a mobile quarterback in the playoffs. He always just seems so chill. I wonder if that's gonna translate to the playoffs.
Could we get some playoff jitters?
Yeah, you might, because a tight game in the regular season, he seems fine. He seems cool as a cucumber, as some people have been saying.
They seem willing to come back from 21 in the fourth whenever.
Yeah. And but I wonder if that translates to the playoffs. No. Either way, I think it's kind of all gravy for the Commanders. Nobody's expecting them to be this good this year, and I think that they'll look back, even if they lose this first matchup, they'll look back and be like, great season, you know, better than we thought. All right, number 8, Packers. Tough loss against the Bears. I think that was LaFleur's worst game of the season in terms of coaching. I also think they lost Christian Watson. That is going to be really tough because just statistically they're a lot better when he's on the field. They are deep though. They've got a lot of receivers, and I guess Jordan Love's elbow has been bothering him. So if we'll see how he is. My worry with them is just that they have 6 losses this season, 5 of them to division opponents. They got swept by the Vikings and the Lions. Then they lost 1 to the Bears. And then their other losses to the Eagles, who they're playing in the first round. But it's like they're great against teams that are worse than them.
Right.
But we've yet to see them really beat a team that is considered better than them. And so I think that when, that Eagles game was so close and Jordan Love missed half of that game, I think they have a chance to prove something here. But the Eagles then versus the Eagles now, very, very different stories. Like they have fully integrated Saquon into that. Like he is kind of, everything runs through him. Jalen Hurts is yet to clear concussion protocol, but at the same time, they didn't practice yesterday. So I'm assuming that's only like a day away.
Yeah.
If he is fully, he's been practicing, and that defense has also gotten so much better. I don't think that they're going to stack up great against the Eagles, but at the same time, I think that if they prove that, I would be scared of them in the NFC in general, because it's not often you lose 3 in a row to a division opponent.
Yeah.
When you're a similar caliber team. Yeah. So if they go play the Vikings after that, or they go play the Lions, which I guess being the 7th seed, you automatically probably go play the Lions, then I think there's a chance they upset them, and then we see the Packers start to be like a trendy Super Bowl pick, you know? I think they're a much better 7 seed than the Broncos on the other side. So.
For sure.
All right, number 7, I got the Vikings all the way down here.
What one loss will do.
Yeah, and I still believe on a personnel level, they're one of the better teams in the NFL. I just think momentum, it's other than the Steelers and the Texans, you've got a huge loss of momentum going into the playoff, even more than the Packers losing to the Bears. I think this is just it's to lose that way.
Yeah.
It's to lose without scoring a touchdown, losing your identity. Sam Darnold might not be the guy, whatever.
Yeah.
They even activated Daniel Jones off the practice squad.
Get his ass ready to go.
Hey, listen, if it comes down to
JJ might be healthy. Let's try him out.
Right. They're trying shit. They're preparing for the worst. I don't like that as a mentality going in. I do think they're going to beat the Rams. And then I think people will start to believe a little bit more again, but that was just a debilitating loss. Deflating. It really takes the spirit out of it. I mean, you said about the odds, I think people are doubting 100% now.
Big time.
I think a lot of people would take the Packers over the Vikings right now.
Yeah, I think they have the same odds.
Yeah, I am not of that opinion, but at the same time, I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. If they beat the Rams, though, then people will kind of come to their senses again. But it's a bad way to go into the playoffs looking like that. So, all right, number 6. I got the Chargers all the way up here.
Wow.
They have been impressing me. Yeah. They are like that dark horse. They're the perfect dark horse right now, especially being in the division that they're in. The way that they have been playing, the way that Justin's been throwing the ball. Yeah.
Disley.
Also, that defense is number 1 in the NFL. Period. They are so good. I don't know. I just think they got the Texans first. That's great for morale, because I don't think that the Texans can put up a fight against anybody else in the playoffs right now. So I think that the Chargers are going to go with a convincing win. Then they probably go play the Ravens, and that's the Harbaugh Bowl. We'll see how it shakes out this time around, but I do think that they have a good shot at upsetting them as well. I believe in the Chargers. I think that on both sides of the ball, if you look at it, it really does check all the boxes except for receivers.
Yeah, that's but some of their other guys have stepped up the last couple of weeks.
Quentin Johnston had 13 catches last game.
I know, yeah. That's a compelling argument. And I was a big proponent during the regular season of like if you sneak Justin Herbert in, if you put him in the Trojan horse and sneak him into the playoffs with some momentum and like good chemistry with the guys around him and a strong defense, like he stands on the same level as in terms of throwing ability. He's just as good as anyone else.
Yeah.
Like he can throw the ball as Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
And he's 6'6", so he throws it from even higher, which helps. You know, he can really see over those O linemen. Mm-hmm. They also have a great O line. That's another thing. And they also, I mean, Ladd McConkey has been playing great. I don't know. There's something about them that to me, also Harbaugh every time like. When he went to the NFC Championship, maybe even the Super Bowl the first year that he was with the Niners. And so, like, that's something about he can kind of, like, he shows up and immediately has them ready. And, I think vibes are high there. And I think people are kind of just, like, talking about the Ravens and the Bills and the Chiefs. And the Chargers are over there, like, definitely the fourth best team in the AFC right now.
Well said.
So I'm excited to see what they do. I think they're going to beat up on the Texans, and then that next round, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Number 5, I got the Eagles. This one is just there's some vibes that are a little bit off there. Sure. Jalen Hurts not being able to play and not knowing if he's going to play. I mean, they say he's going to, but he hasn't cleared concussion protocol. It's all about Saquon. I think that was a weird vibe, too, going into that last game. It's just kind of like, oh, I wanted to do it, and they said I couldn't, and whatever. Sirianni's always kind of under the microscope. You never know how people are feeling about him. On a personnel level, I think they're one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the NFL. I think, like, aside from quarterback play, if you were to pick any, like, actual roster to have, like, if you were picking for a quarterback to go play somewhere, that's the best option you would have because all the pieces are there. It's just Jalen Hurts is kind of, like, middling. He's shown a lot of flashes this year, though, shown that, like, they weren't throwing the ball that much. He went out and he proved that when they did that they'd be successful as well.
And then he bonked his head.
Yeah. Well, that happens. You bonk your head every once in a while.
Injury report this week. Jalen Hurts still dealing with bonked brain.
And their defense has just been fantastic. Best secondary in the league. So, I mean, they're great. I think they got to get past the Packers, who are a frisky little team. So we'll see. Number 4, Ravens. It's starting to come together. Yeah. It's starting to feel like, okay.
Feels right.
Yeah, the momentum is there, and that's why I'm like, he's got to prove it now because Lamar has been a not very good quarterback in the playoffs the past couple of years. He has really blown it, especially last year in that AFC Championship. It was like he blew it, coaches blew it, but he blew it as well. He's got to prove it now because I think when he's got Derrick Henry. And you've got the momentum. The defense is starting to play a lot better. They were really bad first half of the season. They started to put it together. Other than the secondary, I think that they are a Super Bowl team. Yeah. And I would like to see them, in a lot of ways, I think they are poised to, upset the Chiefs and actually go to the Super Bowl from the AFC this year. If it weren't for the Zay Flowers injury, I'd have them over the Bills. Yeah. But that's huge. And that's it's also the risk that everyone was talking about with Saquon, where it's like, that's why you don't play your guys in week 18. Yeah. Ravens had something to play for. They, win or a Steelers loss, and it both ended up happening. Yeah. But they wanted to obviously have, home field advantage. The other thing I'll say is Zay Flowers' injury, while concerning, Zay Flowers this year is the first Pro Bowl wide receiver from the Baltimore Ravens in history. So, first ever.
Really?
Yeah, first ever.
Anquan Bolden never got in?
He played for the Cardinals.
Well, yeah, he had a long career at the Ravens.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, he was Pro Bowl with the Cardinals is what I mean.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I don't know.
You saw that?
I saw that somewhere.
Did you see it on Twitter?
Yeah, probably. Okay. No, I think I saw it on one of the sports shows.
Well,
maybe it's
first
team. No, because he's not even first team.
Yeah, no.
No, yeah. Huh. No. Yeah, he's first Pro Bowl wide receiver in Ravens history.
Well, just to remember, they were the Browns before. They've only been a team for about 25 years. So
yeah, sure. But I'm just saying
that's crazy.
That's all of Lamar's years as well. So
Right.
even without a wide receiver number one, they can function.
Yeah.
You know? So we'll see.
Big tight end play there.
Yeah. All right, number 3. Bills. And like I said, I only really have them above the Ravens because of that. I think if Zay Flowers was healthy, I like the Ravens a little bit more on momentum. But it's hard to deny Bills' offense. They are averaging like 30-something a game. They're hard to slow down. Their only losses this year are to the Ravens. And who else? Who else beat them? Well, Patriots this week, but like that didn't really count. They lost to somebody else.
Rams.
Rams, you're right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they are hard to slow down. So I don't know. I don't have much to say about that team other than it's Josh Allen and it's James Cook. Like it's gonna, like, if you establish the run and then let Josh do Josh stuff, I think they could beat anybody. They obviously already beat the Chiefs this year, but that doesn't fare well in history because when they beat the Chiefs in the regular season, they still lose to them in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
We've yet to see this Bills team go to a Super Bowl. I think this year could be the year. We've yet to see Josh Allen win an MVP. Probably going to be this year as well. So it just, it's the same test that other than last year, which was a weird fluky year, they had to fight their way back even to the playoffs. It's the same thing that we've seen before, where fantastic regular season. Josh Allen obviously is one of the best players in the NFL right now, but got to prove it all the way to the Super Bowl. So, and what stands in their way is my number 2 team. I moved the Chiefs down. I moved them down because as much as it's the backups, it doesn't mean anything really. 0 points against the Broncos.
That's what moved them down?
Yeah.
They didn't want to win. They don't care.
I know they didn't want to win. But even thinking that way makes me be like, gosh, that's weak.
Yeah, that is weak.
Oh, don't let the Bengals in.
Yeah.
And I saw a good point that was made where it's like, okay, they kind of, sure, they'd love to have the Bengals in there because then they get a bye no matter what.
Yeah.
Bengals go play the Bills.
Right.
The Bengals upset the Bills. Would you rather see the Bills or the Bengals in the next round?
Probably. I don't know. They both start with B's.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I didn't think about that.
So, yeah.
Let's start with B's.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, you'd rather see the Bengals, way worse defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's more just like I moved them down because momentum going into the playoffs. The number 1 team, which I will throw it up now, Lions, they regained all of their momentum. The magic is back. The defense is back.
The grit.
Anzalone coming back was obviously big, like you talked about. Yeah, sure.
He's hot.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy.
I would laugh.
Yeah. You would what?
I would touch his hair.
Of course. Yeah. It's weird that it's blonde, right?
It's awesome.
It's odd.
It's like a Viking.
It's a little bit weird. Then you're gonna get Montgomery back.
Debo.
Yeah, I mean it's just momentum going in right now. The Lions to me are the clear favorite in the NFC, and the Chiefs are the clear least favorite in the AFC. And what I mean is just nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Like the map, if the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl, the map of who everybody's rooting for in the Super Bowl is going to be everyone is going to be rooting for whoever gets there from the NFC. Yeah. And then it's the Chiefs. Nobody wants to see this happen again except for Chiefs fans and casual Taylor Swift fans who decided.
I think there's some NFL fans that I even know personally that are rooting for the 3-peat just because it is first time.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, but this year, as much as I've said that
Detroit's America's team.
I said 2 months ago, like, I think it's going to happen. I think the Chiefs we're going to all go in and make our fun little picks about the playoffs. It's just going to end up being the Chiefs again, and it's going to be annoying, and everybody's going to hate it, but it's going to happen. It just feels like that this year. And I will say it feels a little different this time around. Just right now, it feels a little bit different. It's a little too obvious. The Chiefs lost 2 games this year. One of them was a bullshit game where they didn't play anybody. The other one was to the Bills, who are a fantastic team. It's a little too obvious. I think something's going to happen this year. I think the Ravens or the Bills are going to get them, or at least I hope so. And if not, I think the Lions will get them.
Yeah.
So right now, let's go Lions. And I think they're just too good. They're firing on all cylinders. That Dan Campbell coaching, it worked against the Vikings. They just sent the house every time. They blitzed the fuck out of them. And they knew that's what they had to do to win.
Yeah.
And so they're going to do whatever they can to win.
Cover 0, baby. Hell yeah. Nice top 10, Riley. I like the Chargers argument you made. I think that's...
Thanks.
I considered it, but then, like I said, I just had to put Rams in there for me because of the Stafford thing, but I think that's a compelling argument.
I put the Rams in there, too.
Well, yeah, but those were what my decisions were there between those two. But great compelling argument there. I love to see the Lions on top of yours. It's great to be back. It's Wild Card Weekend, which is my favorite weekend, really, besides Super Bowl week in the NFL. I absolutely love the Wild Card Weekend. Anything can happen, and storylines are like really created here. If a super favorite gets tripped up, you have an upset storyline, even if it's close. If the Broncos go in and are like close with the Bills, then a whole narrative opens up and say, they're not ready. Their defense got exposed by a rookie quarterback. Like the storylines coming out of this week are just... The soil is fertile, and I am excited for it.
And you said you might. What was it? You said you might like something.
I might swerve in that corner. Whoa, whoa. And that type of shit, let that shit go. All right. We have a special video. We're going to do a little extra one in between this and our predictions. It'll be out tomorrow. Yep. Stay tuned for that. Predictions coming Friday, and maybe we'll fill out a full playoff bracket Friday. I don't know. We're gonna freshen it up. There's going to be some fun stuff. We got more games coming in the next couple weeks, so we're not done with those. We're going to do a year-end trivia and other shit. So
we have a special guest. We have a special guest coming.
Hopefully, God willing. I want to hype him up, and then
Well, I mean, okay, all right. Pending any
natural
or unnatural disasters, we have a special guest joining us on the show.
Yeah,
and that's happening pretty soon, probably next week.
Yeah, we're gonna watch Wild Card Weekend with them.
With that person and or persons
or thing.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. It could be any of them.
It could be a tree.
You pop one of those cool layouts over, I like that. There we go. Thanks, Tony.
All right,
this has been Cheap Seats as always. Go Browns.
And go Cavs. And go Lions.
And go Lions.
All right. You cut me off a lot during that.
I don't think that.